Hello everyone, I'm Penros776, new legendary banner. Who's it gonna be? Well, that music definitely narrows it down a lot. It's Robin! It's Hang on a second. Exalt's other half, are they married?
Thank you for believing in me.
Well, yeah, obviously they're married. Duo Chrom exists, but legendary Robin. Okay. And this is the whole tome strategist side of Robin, by the looks of things. The Earth legendary unit, got the whole pair up thing as usual. And stat buffs, I don't remember the stat buffs, but and green tome infantry, I believe. I was a bit distracted by the fact that they named him Exalt's other half. But anyway, let's take a look at what he has. In the weapon, Master's Tactics. Accelerates special trigger, cooldown count -1. At start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants Grand Strategy to unit and allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn. Inflicts attack speed defense res -4 on unit for its next action, and inflicts -6 on the highest and second highest stat values between attack speed, defense, and res for each ally within 2 spaces of their next actions. Subtract 15 from attack when comparing. Okay, so that Grand Strategy, for those of you who don't recall, it is the same effect that Duo Chrom has on his Duo skill. It is basically a unity effect for all stats. It turns any debuff you have into... Well, it doesn't turn it into a buff, but it applies a stat bonus equivalent to turning it into a buff. So if you've got -4 to all stats, like he applies to himself, it's going to apply +4 to all stats and then +4 to all stats again, so that you end up at +4 to all stats overall. So -4 turns into +8. Which ends up at +4 because you've already got -4. You get the drift? It doesn't get rid of the -4 debuff, it's still there for weapons that care about debuffs, like Yoon is a big one. But it's now effectively giving you a stat buff in combat. And then to enable that, he is of course applying debuffs to himself and applying debuffs to nearby allies as well, to their 2 highest stats, which usually their 2 highest stats are going to be the stats that they care the most about. -15 to attack, obviously, to take into account the fact that weapons grant somewhere in that amount of attack. Anyway, so it's basically trying to look at unmodified attack. At the start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack speed defense res -3 on closest foes and foes within 3 spaces of those foes through their next actions. Start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack speed res -5 on foe during combat, and foe cannot make a follow-up attack. Okay, so it's also, debuff effect on the enemy. A pretty small debuff, just a -3 1 to all stats. Well, that's decent overall, but small on a stat-by-stat basis, but in a pretty big area. It hits the closest foe with no range limit, and it also hits any foe within 3 spaces of that foe, which is, if you've seen 3 spaces before, that's a big area. And attack speed res -5, and foe can't make a follow-up attack. So that's the standard +5 for all stats part of every weapon in current year. Here it's being applied as a -5, but it's basically the same. And follow-up control, so Robin might be a relatively slow unit, potentially. His special is Ignis, so that implies he's going to have pretty high defense. His A slot, PRF A slot, is common for legendaries recently. Part of the plan. Not the whole plan, just a part of it. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack speed res -8 on foe, and grants attack speed defense res +X during combat, where X is equal to current penalty on each of unit's stats times 2. Hold on a second, it's another unity effect. Example, if unit has -7 penalty to attack, grants attack +14, right, for a net bonus of attack +7, calculate each stat bonus independently, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. So, okay, that just synergizes very well with Grand Strategy in his weapon, to be perfectly honest, because they stack, and they stack better than you'd think, because each one of them is applying a buff that's double your debuffs, so that it cancels out to 1 times your debuffs as for total buffs. But if you've got Grand Strategy and another Unity effect, a buff that's double your debuffs and another buff that's also double your debuffs, means you're getting a total buff of 4 times your debuffs. Take away the debuffs and you're left with a buff that isn't twice the amount of the debuffs, it is 3 times the amount of the debuffs. Unity effects stack very, very well. So the fact that he's got Grand Strategy and this means that, yes, feed him debuffs, he will be so strong and so powerful. So that'll be fun. And the B slot, Seal Attack 4. We've seen Seal 4s before, but this is the first time Seal Attack 4 specifically has shown up. So, attack -4 on foe during combat, and if no effect neutralizes penalties to foes' attacks, inflicts penalty on foes' attack during combat equals 7 minus the current penalty on foes' attack. And if penalty is active on foes' attack, which it probably is considering his massive range debuffs, inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat. And then after combat, it inflicts attack -7 on foe through its next action after combat as well. Basically, I've explained this before, but it's treating your foe as if they always have a -7 penalty. It's rounding their penalty up to -7. You guys get it. Or you don't, but it does what it does. The guard is probably going to be very nice for him, judging by how he's going to have probably very high effective stats in combat due to the whole double unity deal, and slow unit with follow-up control as well. So basically he's probably not taking much damage from anything except big specials. Guarding them is great. And in the C slot, Canto Control 3. I mean, it doesn't particularly work or anti-work with the rest of his kit, but it is just very nice to have more examples of Canto Control in the pool. Because Canto Control, very important skill in the year 2023 when there are units out there who can just Canto everywhere. Let's keep watching, see his animations. Love the art as well. Ooh, some kind of big windy blast. Kids love those. And here they're showing off, yep, that's Grand Strategy. He's paired up with Chrom because they are married.
All according to plan.
And let's see how big this Ignis is. That's big. Alright, who else is on the banner? Selith, Saros, Shara, Faye, 4, Legendary Byleth, female, Elamine, Xander, Shez, Robin, Arcane Grima, Gregor. That's mildly awkward, actually. Let's wait until it goes into Big Odd Circle mode, and I'll talk about this color by color. So, green. In most previous Mythic and Legendary banners, the color with the new Mythic or the new Legendary has been the must-have color. They kind of forgot that here. Okay, so Robin himself is an incredible unit, an excellent unit. Big fan of his big stats with the grand strategy and all the other nonsense. 4 is always going to be handy for merges because she's an offense mythic. She's going to be in the offense mythic bonus rotation, and her special acceleration aura is still handy for save units, which save is very strong on Astra Season. And then Xander is here. And Xander is, well, he's by no means a bad unit, but he is just an Axe-Cav, really. There are other Axe-Cavs out there who do similar things to Xander. Xander is also, I think, historically one of the worst performing legendary banners out there. So that's kind of tough. Red has Selith, who is pretty dang good. And then Shez, Gregor. I mean, they're kind of decent, I guess. But like, Shez is outperformed, I'd say, by other more recent units. And Gregor is weird. I mean, I love him, but he's weird. Like, neither of these are units that you specifically are looking to pull necessarily, unless you've got some specific idea for them, right? Because they're like, Shez is a nice, brave, fast sword, but there are Alia and there's Lucia, who are just godlike fast swords, right? And Gregor has a high defense stat. Hey. Blue is another awkward color. Blue. Okay, so Faye is lovely. Faye is great. Legendary female Byleth. Drive tempo. Huge. Massive. Very big. Seiros is also here. And again, as I've said, and as Xander kind of causes problems with in green, when there's color sharing like this, it's only really worth it to go in on the color if you like all 3 of the units in that color. What are you using Seiros for? I mean, I guess if you want her fodder, sure, but yeah, so that's a little silly. Now, colorless is godlike. Ashera, very strong offense unit. Elamine, I'd probably call the strongest offense unit. Both of them, again, merge them up because you love the score. And Arcane Grima, need I say more? Arcane Grima is the arcane unit of choice for just great fodder, great arcane weapon for all your old dragons, and one of the best savers in the game on top of all that. So, yeah, colorless is the color you kind of want to pull here. If I was pulling on this banner, funnily enough, I'd probably snipe colorless and spark for Robin, which is a very silly way of going about things. But I'll probably hold off for the time being because I expect we're due more good, very strong units in the near future. Still, I do really want that grand strategy effect. I'd love to be able to play around with that, but I just have to get Robin on the next banner he shows up. Anyway, let me know what you guys are thinking of doing. It's been a great time, and well, I guess I'll see you all in the future. Penrost out.